Okay, gamers, so I finally got around to playing the latest game in the Mortal Kombat franchise. That's right, Mortal Kombat 1. And for the record, right up front, I just want to say I feel like the title is just absolutely lazy. Remember back in the day, we had awesome titles like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and Mortal Kombat Deception. Now, those were awesome titles. Now we just get titles like Mortal Kombat, which is technically the ninth game in the franchise, but since it acts as a soft reboot, technically it's just Mortal Kombat 1, not to be confused with the original Mortal Kombat 1, which now we have Mortal Kombat 1. Oh god, I'm getting a headache. Now, there's nothing wrong with having numbers and titles. I mean, Mortal Kombat started off with numbers. Some franchises like Tekken and Street Fighter still have numbers, but I feel once you go with like something awesome like Deadly Alliance and Deception, it's kind of lazy when you revert back to going back to the numbering system, especially when 3 of your titles is just Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat has always been a big part of my gaming life, going back to the original Mortal Kombat that I still remember going to Toys R Us, grabbing the slip and picking the game up and going home and playing it, just to realize I made a god-awful mistake and bought the Super Nintendo version, which was actually censored and didn't show the blood. I learned the hard way, mistakes were made. I didn't know at the time that the Sega Genesis version kept all the blood and gore in, whereas the Super Nintendo version was completely censored. However, when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, Nintendo did not make the same mistake. Since that day of picking up Mortal Kombat at Toys R Us, I have picked up every entry of Mortal Kombat, and I have enjoyed almost every entry of Mortal Kombat, with the exception of a few. Yeah, let's not talk about that one. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat 11. In fact, I thought the franchise was sort of going downhill with Mortal Kombat 10. I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat 9, which was a fresh reboot of the franchise, taking it back to the roots after the events of Armageddon. Raiden sends a message back to his younger self, and he then tries to correct the timeline. So Mortal Kombat 9 acts as a reboot, basically reliving the events of Mortal Kombat 1 through 3, which I thought was awesome, and a lot of gamers really enjoyed going back and reliving that original story. However, when Mortal Kombat 10 came out, I felt like they just kind of dropped the ball, and with Mortal Kombat 11, they really dived deep in the whole timeline thing. And for me, it just felt kind of lazy. Whenever they box themselves into a corner, they decide, hey, we're just going to go back and we're just going to kind of reboot the thing again and again. I just remember finishing the game and feeling really disappointed. So when Mortal Kombat 1 was announced, I was extremely pessimistic about the game. I just did not like the idea of going back to 1 again with another fresh restart. It just felt lazy to me. So when the game came out, I did not pick it up on release day. I was like, I am not paying a full $70 price for this game when I really didn't like the last 2 entries. But luckily enough for me, a few months after its release, I was able to pick up a copy for just $20. And I have to tell you, I think I may have been wrong about this game. Maybe I'm just a sucker for origin stories, but I really liked what they did here with all the different characters living in similar but kind of different roles. The fact that Scorpion and Sub-Zero are like brothers, and we get to see Sindel as the Empress of Outworld with her 2 daughters, Mileena and Katana, by her side. And Mileena, to me, is the best thing about this game. I loved her origin story throughout this game. Like, it really focused on Mileena, and Mileena has always been one of my favorite characters in the franchise. So to see that NetherRealm Studios has taken the focus on the Mileena character and really dive into her disfigurement and all this other stuff in her backstory, I really enjoyed that. Plus, it was awesome to see Shao Kahn as just a regular general serving underneath Queen Empress Sindel. Like, all that stuff I thought was awesome and very intriguing. I honestly think if you are someone like me who likes the earlier Mortal Kombat games and loves Mortal Kombat 9, I think you're really going to enjoy the story mode of Mortal Kombat 1, because it goes back to the origin story, the simplistic storytelling. It gets a little crazy toward the end. I kind of fell off a little bit, but they kind of brought it back, and I ended up really enjoying the story mode. And that's something that NetherRealm Studios does very well compared to other fighting games. Street Fighter, Tekken, those are all fantastic games, but NetherRealm Studios always knocks it out of the park when it comes to story in the fighting games, whether it be the Mortal Kombat franchise or the Injustice franchise. They do a fantastic job telling a great narrative that makes you want to go through and play these games, despite how I feel about Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 10. I mean, what you gonna do, right? We can't win them all. We can't win them all, people. Now, just to kind of trail off topic a little bit, I do have a minor nitpick with this game, and I just kind of want to bring it to attention because I noticed it in the last couple entries as well. Now, full disclosure, this is something that a lot of people probably don't even care about, but I want to bring it up. I want to shed some light on it because I noticed it, and I just kind of want to put it out there into the world. What happened to having awesome, strong, sexy female characters? Is that something we can't do anymore? I mean, it just seems like that NetherRealm Studios is just really cutting back on how they portray their sexiness female characters. For an example, go back to Mortal Kombat 9 and look at the way Melina is dressed. Like, she is super sexified. Like, she's got everything hanging out, showing the world. She doesn't care. She's showing what her mama gave her. Like, there's like absolutely no shame in her game. But if you look at the last few entries of the Mortal Kombat franchise and you look at the way they show Melina, she has more clothes on. They kind of go out of their way to not make her sexy. And I noticed the same thing with Sonya Blade. I mean, in Mortal Kombat vs. DC, you could see a freaking G-string tan line on Sonya Blade. You can see how Sonya Blade was portrayed very, very sexy and busty, but as the entries went on, again, she was kind of toned down, more clothing. Like I said, I fully admit a lot of people probably don't even care about this. Most people probably didn't even notice this. However, I find it a little strange how NetherRealm Studios, the studio that is basically responsible for the video game's rating system in the first place, feel that it's okay that they can have characters gouge each other's eyes out and eat each other's brains, but yet it's bad to show TNA? Like, how does that make sense? Like, are you afraid that you're going to upset somebody because you see a little bit of skin, but it's okay to completely just annihilate your opponent and rip their spine out? It just bothers me. Because when you see a character from their original roots and they've always been played as sexy, and NetherRealm Studios has always made their female character look overly fantasized, and now they try to really go back with realism because they don't want to upset any communities, I feel like that is a huge misstep in your game. How is it okay to show dismemberment and blood and guts, but you can't show a little bit of boobies? That's kind of crazy to me. So now that I got that monkey off my chest, let's jump back into the actual game and what I feel about the game. So the story mode I really enjoyed. However, I start falling apart with some of these other features in the game. For one, I'm not the biggest fan of the Cameo Fighters. You have characters like Jax and Sonya Blade who are fan favorites, but you can't play as them because they're cameo characters. And cameo characters sort of act like these tag-in characters, but when you tag them in, they just come in, they do a move, and then they leave. You're not able to play as these characters. And to me, that's a big, big misstep. I'm fine with the cameo characters if I'm also able to play as those characters. To me, it would have made more sense just to have a big roster of characters. You pick your main character, and then you pick whoever your cameo character is. That way, I can mix it up. Maybe I want to play as Jax and have Sonya as my cameo character. Or maybe I want to play as Sonya and have Jax as my cameo character. Or maybe I want to play as Sonya and have Johnny Cage as my cameo character. But you can't do that because you have a set amount of playable characters. Then you have a different roster of cameo characters. And to me, that is really dropping the ball, especially when you have other games out there that does 3-on-3 tag fighting games and they have a large roster of characters. I commend NetherRealm Studios for trying to do something different, but really it's just kind of frustrating because the characters I want to play as are just cameo characters, and I can't play as the cameo characters because they're just cameo characters and they're not main characters, and it's just frustrating. Now, despite that negative, and as frustrating as it is, the game does play and look beautiful. Like, when I was playing through the campaign, it looked awesome. Like, you could tell they really took their time with the mocap and the voice acting. It was all phenomenal, except for Megan Fox. Why was Megan Fox in this game? It literally took me out of the game. Her voice acting was so monotone and one note.
That blade's enchanted.
It was forged to destroy evil. It's slain many of your vampire kind.
We can't help what we are. That we feed on blood doesn't make us evil.
I really do not like when they take big actors and put them in games and animated films. Like, you have good voice actors out there. Hire good voice actors. You don't need to put Megan Fox in there. It's not going to sell any extra copies because that dude on the left saw Jennifer's body. Nobody really cares. People just want a good game. And when you have an actress come in, one, she's not a good actress in the first place. And two, when she comes in and she basically sounds like she's phoning it in, it's not a good look for your game. So other than Megan Fox, I thought the voice acting and the graphics and the presentation was all great. But then when you look at the features in this game, it's kind of bare bones. Like, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, you have these equipment for your characters, but it's not as customizable as the Injustice games. There's a lot of stuff that's just behind microtransaction paywalls. You have your arcade tower, which is classic Mortal Kombat stuff, but everything else is really behind paywall. So once you get done with the story mode, there's not really a whole lot to dive into unless you're someone who wants to play online. If you're someone who wants to play ranked games or get on with your buddies and play, then you're probably going to find more fun out of this. But for me, I don't play rank in online games anymore. I play very, very casually. I pick up these games to play the story mode, and that's pretty much it, and then I'm done. So for me, once I finished the story mode, there wasn't a whole lot else to do other than go through the arcade mode. And I have to be honest with you, the game kind of felt pretty bare. Like, there was a lot of barren stuff in this game, a lot of microtransactions and season passes, a lot of, the stuff that you see in a lot of games today. It was kind of a letdown, to be honest with you. And that's where we come to the full price of $70. Does this game warrant the $70 price tag? Should you pick this game up for $70? Video games are getting more and more expensive nowadays. They keep raising the prices of these games. Do you want to pick up this game for $70? Me personally, like I said at the beginning of this video, I waited to pick this game up for $20. And for $20, I'll tell you what, I got my money's worth just in the story mode alone. I thought the story mode alone was worth the $20. But I cannot recommend anyone go out and spend $50, $60, or even $70 for this game. Unless you are someone who is very big in the fighting scene and you love playing these games online, then don't spend the full price on this. Wait till you get it on sale, like $25, $30. I definitely recommend picking the game up at that price. I think the story and the plot alone is worth that. I think visually the game looks fantastic. So at a lower price point, I can highly recommend this game. Just right now at the full price, I definitely say just wait, avoid, and just wait for that thing to go on sale and pick it up. Overall, was I wrong about Mortal Kombat 1? Yes, kinda. And no, not really. I mean, I was wrong where I thought the story was going to be very, very convoluted like Mortal Kombat 10 and 11, but it really kind of simplified things. I like the changes that they did. I like the origin story aspect. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with the next game. But when it comes to the other features, I just feel like it was a huge step back. And they really relied a lot on microtransactions, which a lot of studios are doing now. But with that said, I want to know what you guys think. Have you played Mortal Kombat 1 yet? What's your thoughts on the game? Leave those comments in the comment box below. Once again, guys, smash that like and subscribe button for all future content here on the channel. And until next time, as always, I am Robert Storms, and thank you for watching.